Hello there. So it's day 75 here at the Academy of Natural Living. So it's 75 days, 100% raw, and that also means that, that's about 10 and a half weeks, I think. 10 and a half weeks, a little bit more than 10 and a half weeks, about 2.5 months. And they've all been vegan except for 4 days. About 20 days ago, I experimented with some raw fermented dairy and had that for about 4 days. So other than those 4 days, it's all been vegan, 2 meals per day. Now I want to share with you about my ongoing journey healing my digestive tract. Now before I get into the part where I actually talk about what I'm doing to heal it and how it's healing, I want to talk about my history so I can give you a picture of the type of lifestyle that we lead or can lead and that I have led, and how it damages the digestive tract. So let's go right back to the beginning. Right back to the beginning, little tacker, and well, we all get our vaccinations, don't we? Unless your parents know better, then generally you've been vaccinated. Now, it's an interesting thing that Henry Lindlar, he was a nature curist back in the 1800s. He had a sanitarium in the USA. He was very heavily into iridology, so iridioagnosis, so looking at the iris of the eye and diagnosing people. And one of the things that he discovered through iridology was that people manifested a weakness, some type of damage or degeneration in the digestive tract after being vaccinated. So that was one of the things that he noticed. Once vaccination occurred, there was damage resulting in the digestive tract. So if you've been vaccinated, chances are your digestive system has already been compromised. So number one. Then also two, I don't know why, but I used to like to eat sand. Yeah, so I'd go around the side of the house into the sand pit where my dog used to sleep, where our family dog used to sleep, and used to eat the sand. Crazy. So guess what? Lovely little eggs that are in the sand would break out or hatch in my digestive tract. I used to get hookworm or threadworm, whichever one it is, I'm not quite sure. But the little worms that would crawl out your butt basically and itch like crazy. So off I'd go down to the doctors with mum, and she would get me some type of worming pill, antibiotic, or whatever it is that they give you, and it would kill the infestation. But as a result of that, I had a recurring infestation problem for years. For years I used to get a breakout, and I'm sure if I could remember, I would be able to trace it back to certain periods, probably even certain things in the diet. But even though mum and dad were well-meaning and they did the best they could, our diet was a standard Australian diet. Not full of junk food, but it was a standard Australian diet. Meat, 5 veg, but usually there was 2 or 3 types of veg on the plate. Breakfast in the morning was cereal out of a packet with a bit of sugar on top, and used to drink lots of milk. Come home from school and drink milk. So standard Australian diet. And many breakouts of those worm infestations in my younger years that I used to have to go and get pills for. I used to suffer from recurrent ear infections, and all the time we used to have to go down and get antibiotics. Antibiotics, as you know, destroy the intestinal environment. It destroys the natural biofilm of beneficial bacteria, microflora, that lines your digestive tract and helps in the digestion and the assimilation of food. That gets destroyed with antibiotics. And it's hard, it's never quite the same again. It takes a fair bit to actually, rebuild that. So that was another thing that happened. Now as a result too, anytime you suppress an effect or a symptom with medications or drugs, what you're actually doing is you're leaving an encumbrance in the body. An encumbrance is a build-up of waste matter. because I can't get an infestation of parasites such as that unless there's an encumbrance in my digestive tract, because they clean up the encumbrance. Once the encumbrance is gone, the parasitic infection of any sort can't occur. So, with all that suppressing antibiotics, worming tablets, whatever they are, then there's the vaccinations. All these things create an encumbrance in the body and a continuing, ongoing weakness, which is just getting worse. Now then, as a result of that, somewhere in my early teens, I think, I started to suffer from pruritus. Now, pruritus is something called anal itching. Yeah, horrible, shocking. And for me, it actually got quite bad that I'd have to go down to the doctors and get steroid medications. So the steroid medication, when applied to the anus, suppresses the itch, because it actually got so bad that I would, obviously as a little boy, rub it, and the rubbing would literally take the skin off, and which would actually, it'd burn then, because the little nerve endings are open, and then that would have to heal again. So it got so bad that I had to go down and get steroid medication to stop the itch and allow the skin to heal. But unless you know anything about steroid medication, then they also cause a suppression, because the pruritus is just because of a build-up in the digestive tract and building up in the pelvic girdle, because gravity pulls toxins down. So building up in the pelvic girdle there are all these toxins, leading to pruritus. And the steroid medication has other problems in the body as well. Not a topic now, but moving on to when I started to bodybuild, wanting to increase my size, and the amount of food that I had to eat. 6 or 7 meals a day, almost every meal had meat. You're looking at least 5 meals a day with some type of meat. Half a chicken, half a tin of tuna, big protein shakes, steak or chicken breast at night, toast, so bread, rice, milk, eggs, all these types of things going into the digestive tract, and just simply couldn't digest it, couldn't keep up with it. Not only because my digestive system, after pushing it so much and not allowing myself adequate recuperation time, being out on the party scene, partying hard, not getting enough sleep, all these things, the body started to get enervated and I'd get constipated. My body was never designed to push through that amount of food. Now, to deal with the constipation, I would go and I'd start on very mild laxative first. Then I'd go and see naturopaths, and I went up to something like magnesium dioxide, and that worked very well, but that stopped working. And then I went to something like magnesium sulfate, and that worked very well, and then that stopped working. And there's laws why they stopped working. But to cut a long story short, in the end, the laxatives wouldn't even move the bowel. But the bowel now was quite enervated. When you actually force the bowels to work, when they can't work or they don't want to work, when they're trying to regenerate, you're actually doing yourself a lot of harm. For the same reason that if you break a leg and you go running around on your leg or walking on your leg's not going to heal. So the digestive tract was quite enervated, that's fatigued. And just like your arm can get fatigued by doing lots of bicep curls, your digestive tract from doing lots of work gets fatigued. So all of those things were adding up. Then if you drink coffee, the acid in coffee damages the little microvilli in your intestines and actually destroys them. Wheats, I had lots of gluten grains in my diet. Gluten grains damage the intestinal villi, create inflammation, and agglutinate the intestinal villi so they can't work properly. Sugar is highly inflammatory, so anything with processed sugar in, combined with gluten grains, is doubly inflammatory, and that further damages the digestive tract. And all these things, heaps of meat products, animal products, junk foods, acid-causing foods, gluten grains, processed sugars, all these types of things promote the wrong type of microflora to develop. So you can see a pretty poor picture. In the end, I started to suffer from chronic constipation. I had the pruritus. So my bowel regularity was up and down. sometimes it'll be a little bit spastic. So from one day I might be constipated, the next day I might have a bit of the runs. And then I just feel intestinal inflammation every now and then. If I ate the wrong food, if I had something with sugar in it, bam, I get all this gurgling and burning sensation in my intestinal tract. So I knew it was just a matter of time before it stopped working. And I could see myself, I'm 39 now, but I could see myself in 10 years, maybe not 10 years, but 20 years time, having serious digestive problems, having to have continual enemas because laxatives no longer work, and possibly even needing a colostomy bag. I mean, it could be that bad. For me, I'm not going to let it get that bad. And I know that the body is self-healing. So that's just a little bit of a story, as graphic as it was, about the type of things that I was dealing with my digestion. And when I started to go raw, things started to improve greatly. But there's a lot of healing that has to take place in the digestive tract. It's just not going to occur overnight, for the same reason that if you're going to keep using it, okay, the healing is going to take a bit longer. So bear with me now. I'll share with you more about my healing journey here at the farm. See you soon. Thank you.